Good evening, everyone. How are we doing? So, this is my third stream in 3 days, and I've selected actually a hard box for today. We will be doing sideload from HackSmarter. Let's get connected to the VPN. I think I've already started the machine, but yeah, there we go. It's connected. Let's start up the As usual, we start with our nmap scan, so let's do that. So we have 445 RDP SMB. I don't think this is an Active Directory box, but there is a Windows box. So we have RDP, we have SMB, we have a machine name, which basically looks like an Amazon auto-naming convention, which is fine. We know we're not dealing with an Active Directory, so there's no point in us adding anything to the host file just yet. In this particular case, it's actually easier just to type in the name, the IP address instead of the name. So while that scan is running, let's see if we can get anything over SMB. NXC. Right. Okay, so we do have access to some shares, but NXC is being a bit of a knobhead, and it's not allowing us to view the data properly. sometimes NXT will do that, and you have to switch between between DNS and IP address. But we do see an IT share here. And we can download some files. Let's download everything. Okay. Let's have a look at what files we actually got. Okay, so this is sysinternals from Windows, and RDCMan is also a sysinternals application. This one's telling us to remote into the finance department to fix serial key issues. That's fine, and we need to, let's exit. Let's have a look at the report. Nice. So the owner of HackSmarter is called Tyler Ramsby. Yeah. Nice nice finding there. Weak password policy, no account lockout, guessable words plus here as a combination. Okay. So this gives us an indication of how we might brute force accounts. Okay. Well, I'll take a screenshot of that because so I think this one's quite interesting. This one would allow us to brute force users, but we don't actually have a username, a user list just yet. So, we can do resource ID brute force, see if that works. There we go. So we have some users. Lewis.hopkins and Jade's Monero. So now we would need to, we know common words is one of the criteria that's used for the passwords, and we also know that's a combination of common words and year. What would be the best way to generate passwords for that? Let's see what we have in our passwords file. Oh, that's too much. User share. Sorry about that, I forgot to increase the font size of my terminals. No, so that's actually way too complicated, we don't need that. Credentials. Nah, not what we need. So what would be summer, winter, spring, what else? Sideload. Let's put that in there as well. Okay. Let's try to generate. Folder. Okay. Wait, is that one per line or not? Or does it read everything? Yeah, it's reading everything. Lines equal read split new character for line lines. For y in range 20, 27, because we wanted 26 as well. Pass equal, oh no, p8 equals format string line y. Let's check. There we go. So that basically gives us combinations of everything that we need, and we can output that into pass check. And then we have a list of users, which I forgot to copy. Users. Yeah, I'm not gonna try administrator. I'm not gonna try any of the defaults one. So we have 2 users and we have a bunch of passwords, and what we can do is actually so we have users here and our passwords are stored in pass check in exploit. So we can do nxc users and passwords exploit pass check, continue on, success. We could have used Hydra as well to do this brute force. That might be actually better if NXE keeps failing, but we'll see. Maybe we're lucky and it actually decides to work as expected. Not entirely sure what's going on with NXE and HackSmarter. Actually, can we give it a bigger timeout? Okay, how about we try Hydra? Users. Let me just reset the box. I have a funny feeling it didn't start up properly. We've had this before. Hey Bunny Bam, how are you? So we got the new IP address. Let's see. Still what are users? Jade and Lewis. I forgot that we're not actually taking into consideration the fact that we're not doing uppercase, lowercase variations, so we have summer, winter, autumn, spring. And then, of course, we need to close that. Then 137, 167 SMB. No, that fails. RDP, because we have RDP open. And now the pass check should actually be a lot longer. Yeah. We have 84 passwords. I'm just writing some notes while that's running there. Yeah, that's taking too long. Let's do NXC. RDP. Because NXC can do RDP as well. But at least we're seeing some form of status. There we go. Ah, and we have a winner. I'm not even gonna let it finish because we have a password and that's what we wanted anyway. So we have Jade Moreno with Winter 2026 as valid credentials. Well, if that's the case, we can do shares. And the idea is with passwords like this, it's very common to actually find season and year. You might find an exclamation point, you might find other symbols thereabout, but because companies have the policies to change the passwords, I don't know, every 90 days or something along those lines, people are lazy and they're gonna use Winter 2026 because you're also not allowed to use previously used passwords. So we have Jade Moreno and shares. Yep. SMB. Yeah, and it's Jade, not Jave. Sorry, I'm a bit tired apparently. Okay, so we have read, write, over IT. So the funny thing is, because of the name of the box, sideload, and because we're given, where is it? This file, I'm thinking DLL sideloading. So what that actually entails is we would need to evaluate what this does, what DLL it's trying to load, and what DLLs are failing to load from, and the path that they're being searched on. If we can place a DLL alongside this binary on the Windows box, and we can, because we are now allowed to write, that would give us a session into that box, right? However, we can actually have a look, because Jade Moreno here should be allowed to RDP. So let's have a look. Can we actually connect over RDP to this box? Apparently does not want to connect. So this is definitely not the... We can check X3 RDP as well. If I could just remember the command. So username, server, and how do you provide the password? Okay, so RDP does not work, which leads me to believe that we will probably have to do... wait, give me a second. I think I know why it's failing. We've done... Hello, nice to see you here. We've done anomaly yesterday, and we had to use the Kerberos file. Not hosts. That one. I just saw the error in the log there from X3 RDP trying to connect to that one. Where is it? There you go. Now, will Remina connect? Probably not. Yeah, it's not connecting over RDP. So yeah, I think the best way to go forward is actually to try DLL injection. DLL sideloading, hence the name of the box. For that I do need my Windows VM, as we need to... Oh, thank you, I forgot about that. I changed the stream name, but there we go. Yeah, I actually forgot about that. Thanks for reminding me. Change the stream title, but not the name under my picture there. So there are a few things that we can do. You can use process monitor to check what files are being loaded. We can do that as well. However, I did write a Rust program that would do that for us automatically and actually provide us with Rust templates to generate a DLL or inject the data for the sideload already into an existing DLL. Recent projects. There we go. This again is something that you're gonna find on my GitHub. Last time I tested it, I did it with Visual Studio Code. Oh, nice. Well, as I said, I'll be on Discord. If you need any help with that, please let me know. So let's create the DLL first. And of course we're going to use Adaptix for this. Well, I'm usually in front of my computer starting around 9 AM, so let's start up Adaptix. Let's create a new listener. Okay, so we have a listener on port 80. Oh no, we need to generate an agent. I want shellcode, and I shall save it. This is sideload. Exploit agents x64 bin. That's fine. And we have it there. Now here we need to do HTTP. What was the IP address? 10.247.86. 4786. That's the name of the file on 8443. let's double check the IP, 4786. Okay, so this is basically a very similar scenario with what we have with the Rust loader that we've used previously, or Rust harder in process. The only difference is this will generate the DLL as a result of it. So cargo build release, and we do have in the release, we have Rust harder DLL, which we can just copy paste into the other project, which is sideload checker. And we need the binary, so we need to copy the binary somewhere here, somewhere where we have access from Windows. So sideload loot, and it's that binary. Let's just copy it here. And if you have a look at the README for this project, basically we need to sideload checker, we need to give it the exe path. It will find vulnerable DLL injections, but it will also generate either a DLL or it will generate a template in Rust. Well, with AD machines you would have Kerberos, and you would have a lot more data to work with. With just a Windows machine you basically just have local accounts. It's not acting as an Active Directory server, so the exploitation path is a bit different. For example, I didn't even look at running Bloodhound. I have valid credentials, but there's no point, and you cannot really run Bloodhound Collector because you don't have Kerberos and you don't have LDAP running there. You just have SMB. So, target. Yeah, see, as I said, I was already testing with VS Code. RDC. Okay, apparently no. Thank you for the contribution to the OCP style stream. I think I need to place that somewhere else, not in the root folder, but I do have... where do I have sysinternals? So it is part of sysinternals, but I don't have it in this version, so... Oof. How about we do it this way, see if... Okay, let's copy it somewhere else. Desktop. Still not finding. Okay. Seems like I need to have a look into this one. Doesn't really matter. Thank you for the follow, Filthy Casual. Welcome to the stream. Right, so this one doesn't actually work. It worked with Visual Studio Code, but apparently it's not working with, or did I? Something to look into. I don't think I'm gonna be debugging it now. Yeah, it's not finding anything. I wonder why. Last time I used it, it did work. And I can show you. Where's my Visual Studio Code? Downloads. Or documents. No, it's downloads. So, the way this worked was there we go. So for Visual Studio Code, it detects a lot of DLLs that are vulnerable. But for some reason, for that particular app, it does not want to do that. What I can check is what happens if I put... I know why. Oh, yeah, that's... Okay. I've managed to inject, because version DLL was actually my injected DLL. The problem is this will ask for... No, it doesn't. Accept EULA, but it doesn't. So why? Yeah, now that's stuck there. Why doesn't it work for RDC? This is now annoying me because I thought the tool worked and it's not finding anything. Well, let's do it manually then. Not a problem. Right, we need our file, which we have there. We do have a DLL as well, but we can use that later. So we have RDCMan here, and we need procmon from sysinternals. Or procmon. Okay, let's edit this. Now basically when we open this, it should give us a list of DLLs that were not found. Yeah. So we have quite a big list of DLLs that were searched for in desktop and were not found there. That gives us give the ability to load the DLL either from System32, or if it exists in the home folder of the application, it will load it from there. In our case, it didn't find them, and there are quite a few DLLs there that, as we can see. So there's dwrite, which is the same DLL that we've seen. Funny. We've seen that in Visual Studio Code. What's the name of the application again? RDCMan. So we can use dwrite, or we can use any of the others. The idea here is we need to... Oh, hello Peaky Blinders, how are you? So with DLL sideloading, basically what we're trying to do would be to create a replica of the original DLL. In this case, it's gonna be, I don't know, let's use something else, not dwrite. Actually, that might be the best one, because the other one might cause some issues. We need to create a copy of the headers from dwrite into our own DLL instance and proxy all the calls for the original DLL, so the application can still run, but we hook our own code inside of that that DLL. So for that, this is what this tool was supposed to do, but it seems to be failing miserably for some reason. And I'm not entirely sure why. I'll need to double check it. Maybe it fails to load the application. Yeah, so we're doing sideload from HackSmarter today. We've managed to find weak credentials after downloading a PDF file from the SMB as guest. It's not an Active Directory, it's a basic Windows box. We found a sysinternals application that we are trying to sideload because there's nothing else. There's RDP, but we cannot connect over RDP. It won't allow us with the user that we have, so the only other option that I can see at the moment is to try to sideload into that application. Yeah, it is. It is from Tyler. So I had written this Rust application that would allow me to basically generate that DLL automatically, but for some reason it just does not want to work with sysinternals application. So I'll have to debug that. Maybe if we finish the box soon, we can actually have a look at debugging it on stream, because it would be nice. But we managed to find some DLLs that are being loaded from the desktop folder where I've copied the binary, so we can overwrite one of them. Now we could use something like Brownie, if I can remember how to use it. Oh no, this is a Windows 10 VM. I don't... my normal host is Linux, and I do everything that's related to pen testing, payload development, or anything of that sort, I do in VMs. To be fair, we could just use NetClone, because NetClone should be in here. So this is actually a command of VM. If you Google that, you'll find a GitHub repository for it, and it will install a lot of tools for you. It's intended to be a Windows clone of Kali, more or less. Okay, so we need NetClone. Yeah, cool. Let's use NetClone to create our bogus DLL. Projects. Nope. Project. Okay, so the target is Rust, the reference is dwrite, and the output is dwrite DLL. And now we basically should have a dwrite DLL that includes our own payload. I do play some games, but you can play games on Linux as well. So I play Diablo 4, I play Arc Raiders, Counter-Strike, Lost Ark. So I have a few games that I do play, but they're all working fine under Linux. A lot of people have actually switched from Windows to Linux because of the crap that Microsoft came up with in the recent months. Basically, since they've started using AI to generate their code for Windows. I'm just looking for links to share with you about what I'm using. Yes, you can. Of course, the easiest way to do is to install Steam, and through that you can play basically most of the games that are available through Steam are playable on Linux. But there's also a bunch of libraries that you can install, and you can connect to. You can even get Battle.net up and running. So you can play Diablo 3, you can Diablo 3, 4. You can play World of Warcraft on Linux. So it's quite good. So we have the dwrite DLL there. we need to copy it to our Kali VM. So we have our dwrite in exploit. So the tools that I've used for this are Rust Harder DLL and NetClone. So basically what the DLL will do is the same as Rust Harder or Rust Harder in process. It will download the shellcode from a URL that we provided. It will load it into memory and execute. So NetClone will make a copy of a valid signed DLL. It will copy the reference tables over your own DLL, and it will basically allow you to inject malicious code into a DLL while not breaking the application. If you simply generate a DLL, like I've done with Rust Harder DLL here, that would break the application code because the original dwrite DLL will have some exported functions, right? It would have something like the best example I can give you is message box. That would be a function that the DLL exports. Because I'm not exporting that, the application would fail to load. Now, what NetClone does, it copies the reference from dwrite into my own malicious DLL while keeping the pointer to the original DLL. That allows the application to load and run correctly while also executing the payload that I have given it. Does that make sense? Oh, this wasn't here before, and this wasn't here before. That's empty. Okay. So what exactly is unclear? Because we can spend some time going through it. Actually, I have a better idea. Where's the other tool? So, what I've done here is I've used Visual Studio Code as an example, and I've given the tool the option to actually generate a library. Yeah, but that's why we're here. We're trying to get people to understand what's going on. And that's why I'm saying, if you have any questions, let me know. So I've actually created a Rust code here that would mimic dwrite. What this does, dwrite on its own has dwrite create factory as a function that's exported. Now, if I would just go ahead and create my own DLL without having this function exported available in the DLL, even if I do name the DLL that I'm creating dwrite, the application will fail to load because it's expecting that function, which does not exist in the malicious DLL. What netclone does, it will copy those exports to the malicious DLL while keeping the reference and pointing to the original function in the DLL from system32. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's see. Did we actually get a callback? No, not yet. Yeah, for me, it's the way I learn stuff is I learn by doing. I cannot just read a document and say, okay, I know that. No, I need to work with it a few times before I actually understand how it functions. Especially when it comes to hacking. But I'm not seeing a callback for that. To be fair, we can. No, we cannot test that. Because my VM won't connect back to there, but it doesn't matter if it does or doesn't. Dwrite. Okay, so the DLL injection works and it's being called, and I know that because it creates a log file, but that means it hasn't been called yet. Maybe we're just we need to wait a bit longer, but it seems to work on my Windows VM, but let's see. If not, we can try something else. We can try a different tool to copy, or we can try to generate a simpler shell. Let's give it a few more minutes. Yeah, so I kinda did. I did a lot of certifications. I've done a lot of hack the box content, even try hack me. now I'm doing HackSmarter. I've watched a lot of people streaming cybersecurity as well, and I've done Hack the Box live boxes. We have a group of friends that we sometimes get together on Saturday to do the newest release box. I haven't joined them in a while, but I should be doing that as well. But yes, in general, I haven't done a university for this. Yes, I am self-taught. I haven't done any university for pen testing or cybersecurity or any of that sort of thing. To be fair, I haven't done anything for programming before either. We don't have access to delete. The one thing that I can tell you, it takes a lot of dedication and a lot of hours, a lot of nights spent in front of the computer. So that did not call back properly. There's another option that we can test. We can try without the Rust loader and just generate an agent from here as a DLL and see if NetClone would do this better. Sideload, exploit, save. My concern here is that NetClone cannot handle properly the exports in a Rust library. So the only difference is this will not, if there is any kind of defender there, this will most probably be caught. So, but let's see, we're not too worried about OPSEC at this point. Damn it. We're not allowed to overwrite or delete the file. That's annoying. That is quite annoying. So the only thing I can think about is to reset the box, because we don't have, it tells here that we have read write, but we don't actually have read write. We cannot overwrite the file. Okay, well, this was a bit of a mistake. Let's reset the box. That's a bit of a annoying issue, because if your DLL fails, you would basically have to reset the box to make it, because you don't have overwrite. Well, I think my Rust loader is what was failing with NetClone, and I've done it with just basically generate a DLL from Adaptix itself and using NetClone on that. I just want to test. I'm trying to exclude any possibility of it being the Rust loader that has the problem. Okay. And now we don't have those weird files either. So let's see. We've managed to do this with Adaptix DLL. Let's see if we get the callback in Adaptix for this. So we're gonna have to wait a bit. Well, let's put it this way. I decided to take OSCP, I wasn't working as a pen tester. I was working as a software engineer and a higher role. I was managing a team and doing sysadmin stuff as well. I didn't have any pen testing experience when I took OSCP. I've done the 3 months of training. I've done all the machines in the lab that they've given me. I've done about 50 odd machines on Hack the Box, and I took the exam. So 3 months. And we get the shell back. Okay. Let's amend our nodes. Yeah. But I tend to get a bit obsessive about things like this. Don't take after me. I was doing 8-10 hours of work for my normal job per day, and then taking an hour break, and then doing 6-7 hours of studying every night. So it was quite intense. And then over the weekend, I was doing 12-14 hours of studying. So yes, three months, but very intense 3 months. My wife basically didn't see me for 3 months straight. I was locked in my office. But doing that allowed me to pass OSCP on my first try, and after that, I think about a month or so after, I got my first pen testing job. So we get the shell back in Adaptix, and we get it as a different user. What? Are we an administrator? We seem to be, but we seem to have some dropped groups here. I had the binary exploitation when I did OSCP. They hadn't introduced Active Directory at the time. I think it was introduced like 2 years after. does Adaptix have a bypass UAC or anything of that sort? Depends. It depends. If it's the binary exploitation that was done for OSCP a long time ago, which is no ROP chains, no ASLR, nothing of that sort. It was very basic binary exploitation. That was easy. I don't know, and I haven't seen anything, and I'm not allowed to see because I'm not going to be taking the OSCP anytime soon anymore. Yeah, I would say AD is a bit more complicated than the binary exploitation that I had to do. Let's do a UAC bypass. What do we need? We need a path for the argument that we need to generate. So, listeners, generate agents, exe. Actually, we haven't gotten the user flag, have we? Okay, so we've uploaded the file successfully. That's basically well. Good night, and have fun with Anomaly tomorrow when you're doing it. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to jump in on Discord, and I'll happily answer. So let's try the UAC bypass to see if we can get a higher level shell, because Lewis seems to be an admin, but the token is restricted. Did I make you want to do some hacking? Oh, nice. I'm not sure if I can make it to DEF CON. I would love to, but not sure if I can do that this year. Oh, so we need that as a service then. Right, well, I know how to fix that. Yeah, well... Ed, I'm happy to help with anything, if you need any help with that. Happy to prod you on as well. And we can also try to do, not on stream, but we can try to create a chat on Discord and do the hack the boxes on Saturday if you guys want. Happy to do that. So we can all jump in and try to break into the box at the same time. Yeah, it's cool. Right, let's generate a service for this, because this one fails. So, going back to my Rust loaders, hopefully this one works, because I do have one that's a service. And we need 1020, 200, 4786. 10, 200, 4786, 8443, agent x64.bin. Okay, so we've compiled the service. Now let's copy it over, upload it to the box and execute it via UIC bypass. Target, release, Rust hardware service. By the way, all of this is available in my GitHub, so all the scripts that you see me using here, they're all on my GitHub as public repositories. Because with the agent defined by Adaptix, seems like it's failed. Like it worked, but because the binary itself is not compiled as a Windows service, it fails. So This one is compiled as a Windows service. In theory, we should get back a beacon. He says, I'm not seeing a callback again. Let's try a service exe from Adaptix. Maybe I need to check my Rust loaders against this version of Adaptix. Seems to be a bit iffy. Or maybe it's the double quotes, double slashes that's failing. Let's see. No, that did not work. SA. So none of that actually works. Ed, here's another thing that we can do. Instead of just doing the boxes, if you're interested, we can do Hack the Box Pro Labs. That would go into Active Directory, C2 frameworks, Defender bypass, because a lot of the labs do have EDR solutions running there as well. And I think that would be quite interesting, depending on what you want to do. And I think that's something we can do. We cannot do that on stream because we're not allowed to stream that content, but we can do it on just over Discord. Let's try a different UAC bypass. AG. Come on. we might have a defender running on the box, because the Adaptix files are gone. The only one that survived is my Rust loader, which bypasses defender, which means there is defender running on that box. Right. $47.86. $47.86. We can have a look at that as well, Peaky Blinders, at some point. I'll need to read up on it because I've heard the name, but I've had such crappy 2 weeks at work. I didn't have any time to look at anything really. Okay. Well, it's not being removed by Defender, which is good. But we don't get the callback either. I'm just doing a bit of reading about Blue Hammer now. Interesting. But I'm not gonna compile any codes for that at the moment. Oh, my shell died. That's not good. Note to self, next time, migrate and create persistence. Because now basically to get back, we need to reset the box. I don't want to do that. Careful, Ed. The auto mod is keeping your message hostage. No, let's reset. I'm. Yeah, I do have some rules set around that. Sorry, need to keep it decent. I'm trying to upload the VODs to YouTube as well. Yeah, as I said, I'm trying to upload the VODs for the videos on YouTube. So because Twitch deletes the files after I think 60 days or something like that, I do want to have an archive of it. Now let's wait for another callback from Lewis. So Adaptix is basically a C2 framework. As you can see, it looks very similar to Cobalt Strike. Yes, like Sliver. However, the newer versions of Sliver have been giving me a headache. Last year when I did OSCP, I used Sliver 1.5. That was perfect. It worked like a charm. Now with 1.6 and 1.7, I have so many issues. Beacons not connecting back. Everything's failing. So yeah, it's just a bit frustrating. Come on, Lewis. And the thing is, you could install Sliver 1.5, but all the buffs and armory stuff that they have is now ported to 1.6, 1.7, so nothing works. But Adaptix, they seem to be doing a good job at the moment. Come on. It's like waiting for a user to click on a phishing email. Yeah. At that time I was I think I was using dial-up. I missed the sound of dial-up. Did we break the box? Might have broken the box. Oh. Oh. Guess what? The defender got smart and deleted our DLL. Okay, okay, I see what you've done there. Yep. Yeah, so we had it here and then it's gone and no process. So Defender is killing it, which means Defender is detecting Adaptix. No problem. Where is it? We had something that can help with that. That's service. We don't need a service at the moment. We need this one. New window. Because we have generated that. Where's my Rust harder DLL? Wait, where's my sysinternals? Okay, we need to generate something for the write, so we can add it to. Do I have Rust DLL proxy? Yes, I do. Okay, so basically what we need to do in our library, we can delete this because we no longer need it. There we go. Oh, it needs to be unsafe. No mango, that's fine. Yeah, we can close this. We no longer need it. And we don't need this. Let's just double check that what we're doing is correct. 64 bin. Yeah, okay. And does this one, yeah, it does memory checks. We need to remove that because sometimes, especially on Windows Server 2025, that's giving us it's been giving us errors in the past. So cargo build release. So what we've done, using the application Rust DLL proxy, we've exported the headers from the write, and we've added it to our own library. So now if we actually check the exports of Rust Harder DLL, it will actually include a proxy of the write create factory, which should, in theory, allow the RDCMan to run properly, but at the same time it would call our injection. So for that we have the listener there. Nope. Oops, the right DLL. Okay, so this is a much larger DLL because it's Rust and it's compiled with Rust, but at this point in time we don't really care. We just wanted to basically bypass the fender, give us a big beacon back, and hopefully it will. Now I'm not sure how frequent the job runs. At least the fender hasn't nuked our DLL yet. But it hasn't executed either. This is the part that I don't really like, is waiting for this kind of scripts. It should be done at a much faster pace, but oh well, it is what it is. In the meantime, we could actually have a look to see why this one is not actually finding anything. So it captured 18 DLL load events, but for some reason it doesn't say that they are vulnerable. Let's have a look. No. It either hasn't executed yet. Let's give it 5 more minutes. Let's wait until 10:15. String literal. Oh, okay. You know what? Let's have a look. No. Okay, so our DLL fails miserably, or it's the box is no longer calling that. Now we can try with other DLLs as well. I did take a screenshot of the DLLs that were loaded. The problem is I don't necessarily want to overwrite everything. It's a bit annoying. Do I have a DLL in Visual Studio? I should have. just a bogus one that doesn't really help. Why does that one not work? Oh no, we need that one, we don't need that one. And let's move that. Maybe it's failing to create the log file. That might be the case, but this means I need to reset the box again. At this point, I'm using. So we have a DLL sideload. We are trying to do a DLL sideload for dwrite in RDCMan. However, there is Defender running on the box. If I use the default Adaptix DLL, it gets caught by Defender. So I'm trying to run it with a Rust loader that I have that generates a DLL library. However, I did have the DLL to only load once, to only give me one beacon back. It was trying to create a log file. So I've removed that functionality from it now to see if that actually works. And what I can also try to remove before I put that DLL is star sleep duration. Okay, that's fine. That's correct. Okay, let's leave it as is without the debug file and see if that one actually triggers. Put dwrite.dll. So the idea is we have SMB access to a host. We've tried it before and we've managed to do a DLL sideload and got a different shell, but Defender caught Adaptix and it basically killed the shell. So now I'm trying with a different loader. Oh. So it did do a callback. And it failed. Yeah, so it was it seems that the problem was from the log file. There's one way to test, and that is I can change this to, can I? No, I cannot, because Adaptix is listening on a different IP address. Yeah, I cannot edit the listener at the moment. I will need to do it to create a new listener. I want to test this, test one. Yeah, that's fine. 192.168.15.104, 443. So this is just to test if this actually works. Agent 1, save. That didn't call back, okay, that's fine. 15104, agent 1. No, so it does. It's actually it fails to load the process. It's not even doing a callback. So something is wrong in my DLL here. Does it actually... I won't reach this part. Does it reach? Does it create the log file? Yeah. So it creates the log file, but it doesn't actually go and fetch the URL for some reason. Okay, let's do some debugging. Where exactly is it failing? I cannot do it directly from here, can I? No, I do have. But I'll need to get that. I don't want to implement message box in that library. here to work with. Process threads, system info. Let's see if we comment out evade. The lock is still there. Desktop. Here's the thing, I haven't tested this payload with Windows Server 2025 yet. So the lock is there. It did call back. But we don't get a shell. Oh. That's the latest version. Right. And again, it's not doing the callback. That's probably why. The process was stuck in memory. Oh, thank you for the raid, Pelby. How was your stream? And thank you for the follow, Crixus. What were you up to? Oh, nice. Hopefully it went okay. Not as mine. We're basically trying to debug a Rust program that generates a DLL a malicious DLL that bypasses Defender. At the moment, we're not having much luck with its loading the payload that it needs to load. So we don't get a callback, even if we it creates the log file, it gets a callback, but we don't get a shell. So somewhere in between the process fails. And I'm assuming that remote desktop is now somewhere stuck in... No, it died, so the process died. That's annoying, because that also means that our yeah, that means that our own exports for dwrite are failing, which basically trigger RDCMan to crash before we even get a shell back. So it doesn't reach this state because it loads in parallel, and because of the Rust export not working correctly, it just dies. Well, the other solution, because we have the other Rust loaders already created, so we have where is it? We should have, yeah, Rust loader. We know this one works. We can just create a static DLL. And use netclone on that, and basically execute the functions via a PowerShell command, get it to download the binary and execute it. So let's try that. Let me find some notes on that. Okay, so let's create a DLL. Actually, we had the test DLL here. Yeah, we're not going to do a message box. We're going to go into the attach function. Come on. PowerShell. I don't want any of that. Taxi. 10 200 47 86. Okay, so that's gonna download the file. And then thank you for the follow, Grobdor. Okay. Actually, let's test this locally first. The machine is very finicky, so if I mess up the DLL, I need to actually restart the machine because I don't have overwrite or delete permissions on that DLL, and I really don't want to do that. So we use NetClone, we use test DLL. There we have it there. Okay, so it started. It didn't load the DLL correctly. Wait a minute. So we can write our shellcode there, we don't necessarily need to... Yeah, that's correct, we don't necessarily need to... thank you for the follow. So my train of thought here is we don't necessarily need to do the wget to fetch the file, because we can just upload it to the share. But we don't know the share path. Exactly, not in its entirety. Just trying to think why this wouldn't be working. Let's try it like this. Nope. Still does not do a callback. It starts the process correctly, but it's not doing the callback. So this one is not starting properly. Why would that be? Any ideas, chat? What am I doing wrong? Because for some reason this one does not want to run. the includes that I need. We can include Windows. And what else? Standard library. Maybe I'm not compiling my DLL with all the required libraries, so that's also a possibility. No. Funny thing is, if I use my rest harder, I do get the callback, but the program fails to load. Yeah, that doesn't load and the program fails. That's because of the exports of that particular DLL. Now, if we were to copy that into NetClone, it executes, we get the callback, do we get the shell? No, we don't. Okay. Let's remove the log file. And we've removed evade there and evade there. Okay. We get a call back, we don't get the shell. I have a funny feeling that the program is being closed prematurely on the application there, which is not ideal. Let's change it to a different process. So the thing is, CMD did boot up because we've seen it, but then it fails somewhere here. Okay, so it does not want to connect back. So something is failing around here. Let's see if we can get this one to connect. Thank you for the follow, Christy. Got the callback. Oh, there might be something wrong with the listener in Adaptix. Yeah. Because not even this version, it doesn't work. That's interesting. What we can do is kill the listeners, both of them. Remove, create local. Let's 104.80. 192.168, 15, 104. Shellcode. Thank you for the follow, Countless. Shellcode. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out why Adaptix is not responding correctly. Agent 1. Yes. Yeah, we do like hacking. That's going to 8443 agent 1 bin, which should be now connecting to port 80 on Adaptix. So let's double check that. Before evade, after evade, and then yes. So that works. Now, does the DLL work as well? Let's check. Agents exit. Okay, so that works, meaning that we basically get an agent back by using the Rust loader. Now let's see if the DLL version works as well. So maybe there was something wrong with the listener when I initially created it. Let's close this to see new request. So the application loads correctly. We get a callback, but do we get the listener? No, we don't get the beacon. That's interesting. So it works if it's not in the DLL. Thank you for the follow, Shadow Router. In that case, change that. Okay. So at least now we have we have a DLL that loads RR.exe and saves it in C Windows tasks. Now we should be able to do now. I need to regenerate that one because it's using a wrong version. Yes, I need to delete all of that. Okay. Rebuild. Oh, still running. Right, in theory, if everything works as expected, we should see a call for rr.exe, and then afterwards we should see a call for agent1.bin. Thank you for the follow, Tenzetti. Let's see. RR. But the process has not started. Oh no, it did. And there we go. Good. Now we have a DLL that will download the binary to the hard drive and will execute it. Now we need to replicate that for the machine that we're working on. So for that, I will need to reset the machine because we don't have read-write permissions here. We cannot actually remove the data. So reset. And in the meantime, I can basically reset my terminate process. because we need to create a new listener. This is created for my local test. Can HTTP port 80 4786. Generate agent. We need a shell code, and that's gonna be documents HackSmarter Sideload exploit, and we're gonna generate agent.bin. Let's remove some of the old files, shall we? So we know we need agent.bin, which we just generated now. We can remove all of that. Okay. Why is SA being used? It shouldn't be. Okay. DLL, PXC. We just need the agent which we've just generated now. Write. Okay. So now we need to close that one because we don't need it. We need to 10 200 47 86 8443 RR, and then start the process. We need to rebuild the solution. There we go. In here, copy test DLL, NetClone it to dwrite. Now we have dwrite in here. We copy it to our host, to our Windows Linux box. We will need to generate RR again, which is this one. 10 200 47 86, and it's agent, not agent 1. There we go. And then from here we can just copy, and that should give us everything that we need. Yeah, we have the dwrite, we have rr.exe, we have a 8443 server, and we should be able to just connect to the machine, and that would be 1.169.216. Okay. Let's remove this from server as well, so we don't have anything. We copy our DLL there, and we wait. We should get 2 callbacks, one for rr.exe, and the second one, when RR boots up, it should actually come back with agent bin as a callback. So we've seen previously that, oh, there we go. rr.exe and agent, and there we go. Finally we get the shell back, and it's actually no longer running as RDCMan. Now what we've tested before and we failed because it was caught by Defender was to do a UIC bypass, because we are in the administrator group, but we are the tokens have been removed, the privileges have been removed, sorry. So now because we have rr.exe in C Windows tasks, what we can do is UAC bypass. Let's do reg shell CMD, C Windows tasks rr.exe, and that should in theory give us a system shell if we are lucky enough to get another callback here. Or it's gonna get killed again by Defender. If it gets killed, then I'm gonna continue the box on Wednesday. I do need to get some sleep as well, because I do have work in the morning. Well, that one was killed, but we did get another beacon, which is good, which means the DLL works. So the reg shell CMD failed. There's another UIC bypass that we can try, which is SSPI. But this one requires a service, and we don't actually have. Our application is not built as a service. Where is it? Let's try to fix the service one and rebuild it. Oh, that's the wrong one. Service, new window. For bin. But we need to comment out the evade, because that's gonna kill over for the memory. We've had that before. And we have another evade here. So cargo build release. Okay, we should have the file in here. RRS. Sideload, exploit. What? Oh, it's RRS. Ugh. I think I'm getting tired, guys. And gals, sorry. Don't mean to. Okay, so we've created a Rust service binary and it's been uploaded, and if we do Windows tasks, we should have RR and RRS in there. Okay, and now we can do bypass, UAC bypass, SSPI, so Windows tasks, RRS, and hopefully, so it did say it created a service, but it's not giving us a callback. For some reason that doesn't want to work. Let's see. We also need a process browser. Okay, so this is our share, which means we could use this as a, yeah, we could store files here now because we know the path. It's C Windows, so we could put our binaries in here. Let's see. Now this is our current process. So the SSPI bypass is failing. It's not calling. The UAC bypass is failing. Do we have anything in the sharps collection that would help us with that? Let's see. No. We could run WinPiece to do some enumeration. That's not really a problem. Let's do that. Where is it? Local scripts, sharp collection. Execute assembly. Win piece. So it seems like we lost the win piece, probably because the last, or it's still running and it's gonna return at some point. Let's do some enumeration. We tried the UAC bypass directly because that was the most obvious one, but that's one of the reasons why I initially, when I created the DLL, I used the log file. I was trying to avoid getting this many beacons on the server. One of the reasons why I do that is it will eat up memory and it will eat up bandwidth on the server, and you don't want to have that many. Well, the problem is we cannot delete the dwrite DLL. Actually, we might be able to. Give me a second, because with Lewis we might be able to. Actually, can we remove? No. So we're still not allowed to delete anything from there. Let's see if we try a different. Would this give us more privileges than the initial beacon? No, it does not. That's not useful. Okay. So we cannot actually stop getting beacons. We cannot use Adaptix UIC bypass. So let's have a look. C# UAC bypass SSPI. Is this the same one that we've tried to use? Yeah. So this is the same one that we've used, that's implemented in Adaptix, and this one doesn't work. Or maybe we need to execute it from a PowerShell context instead of above. Right, let's compile this. Let me just take some screenshots for my notes as well. What was the name? SSPI. Wait, I need to check something because I think oh, and seems like WinPiece came back. Yeah. Oh wow. It took a while for it to return, but it did return in the end. Okay, we can have a look at that in a minute. I do want console. I want to try something. UAC bypass SSPI, because I had to look at the source code. Where is it? And they define the default command as being cmd/c. Now, if we, instead of just giving it the program name, what if we do PowerShell tag C start process Windows tasks rr.exe, and that's our command line instead of just having the binary. and we get system. Yeah, so there we go. Let's get the flag from administrator, and then we're done with the box for today. Users, administrator, desktop. And we get the final flag. There we go. That was nice. It was a nice box. A bit annoying. So I think I need to spend some time debugging my Rust loaders for Windows Server 2025, because it seems like that's creating some issues for that. So but yeah, we got there in the end. Can I close multiple? Yes. There we go. So I think that's about it for tonight. We finished the box. As usual, I'll post the write-up on my website. Feel free to join the Discord. We might be doing some Hack the Box Pro Labs. We also might be doing some live boxes on Saturday when Hack the Box releases though. I need to start using my talking scene more. I will try to drop you off to someone now. Let's see if there is anyone streaming. Not from InfoSec streams, so let's find the channel. I'll be back live Wednesday for a new stream. Not entirely sure what we're gonna do, but we are gonna be working on another box. So again, thank you for watching. Let's have a look who we can raid. Okay, BitHaven Hackerspace presents Python for Hackers. Let's have a look. Again, thank you for watching, and see you on Wednesday.